Hello students, this is Steve Cramer, Business Librarian. I'm here to make a video regarding how to do research effectively and efficiently for your strategic promotions campaign plan. I'm going to do this in 3 sections. One is just going to be about the client, about Peloton, with some both free and database resources to help you make it easier to research the company. 2, situation analysis, how to do the industry and market analysis that make up the situation analysis. And then 3, some quick suggestions for promotional research, promotion campaigning, best practices, benchmarking. So that would be the 3rd and final section. I'm going to be using this research guide, which I designed and update for your class for my examples. And before I forget, there are, as you can see, 7 different pages here. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm only going to use the homepage to get into the databases I'm using in this video. But just be aware that there's information here that goes deeper than what I'm getting into in this video, how to cite your sources, different tutorials if you want some different videos, usually 3 minutes long, on how to do certain research things, and then more options for trade journals, magazine, markets, industries, companies. So there's more here if you need it. But I'm going to focus on what's in this box, plus 1 or 2 more things as we go through this. And number 1, let's get into about a client, section 1. So I assume you all are Googling Peloton, and that's good. You should do that. But you should also Google this, Peloton Investor Relations. And as some of you know from other management or marketing courses, every public company, every publicly traded company has investor relations website where they provide stock research information, stockholder support materials, SEC filings from the federal government that they have to file with them, other things like that. So this is the insider view of the company. This is not the marketing public side. This is the detailed content for shareholders of the company. For example, financials and filings, SEC filings. We're going to look for the 10K, the annual report. And to do that, I'm going to filter this list down to annual filings and look for the most recent 10K. There's a 10K, and there it is from not too long ago, August 27, 2021. And open the PDF, and I'm going to show you 3 sections here that go far beyond what you're going to get from the public website, the consumer-oriented website for them. First page or 2, which is the default formatting of this 10K. I'm going to skip all that, and I'm going to highlight 3 sections. Item 1, business. Item 2, properties, briefly. And then also item 7, management discussion, and show you how these really help you with your analysis of the company as you work on section 1 about a client. So business, right? I'm not going to read this to you, of course. You can do that on your own. But here is a very factual, detailed, almost legalistic, because this is a legal document, explanation of what the company does, its business model, in other words, how it makes money, its strategies for making money. Details about its customer base, 3.9 million members as of June 30, 2021. You see them in the first sentence, and so on. Number of showrooms or locations they have. A brief financial summary, but we're going to look at that in more detail later on in reference to item 7, which we'll get to in a minute as well. The product list, bikes, bike plus, tread plus, description models they have, their vertical integration aspects, patents, intellectual property. You get the idea, I think, right? And it goes some detail about how they do sales and marketing, for example. And it goes on. So item 1 is simply what they do in great detail using business language for a business savvy audience. This is for investors. So this is not just a puff piece for clients who don't know anything about business. This is insider information that's really helpful. So look at section 1, and it goes on and on. Actually, this is a pretty long section 1. Section 2 is much shorter. Properties, item 2, properties. And basically this tells you like where they're headquartered. They have a lot of square footage in New York City, but they also have other spaces around, and they own a manufacturing plant in Taiwan, and more details about manufacturing. And this is not probably an essential part of your project, but this section tells you what physical property they own, how global they may be in terms of ownership of physical space, plants, laboratories, office space, etc. So item 2, properties, just a good look at exactly where they are physically. And then finally, item 7, management discussion. This is the financial section, but it also gives you analysis. For example, if Well, okay, as you may know, and as we'll see, Peloton has lost money every year. It's not profitable. They don't make money. They lose money. This tells you why. What's going on with the company that they keep functioning but still lose money every year. That's one use of this, is for the explanations of the numbers, not simply the numbers, but why the numbers are the way they are. Summary overview, I'm going to show you just a few examples of this, including a little tidbit about marketing expenditures, which ties into promotion campaigning. We'll get into that. And you can see there's discussions here of how they spend their money and their strategies and how that pertains to their financials. And here we go. And here's the net loss. By the way, I mentioned losing money, and they lost $189 million in 2021, even though they had income. They made a lot of money. They just spent more than they earned. So that's one quick look at that kind of income statement, basically, and so on. I'm going to jump down to page 55 of the PDF. Actually, it's 57 of the PDF, 55 of the internal documentation. And just one little section here. They're breaking down expenditures by topic, such as, well, here's just profit margins, but also sales data. So in 2021, they spent 729, I assume, millions of dollars. Up above, there should be a legend for this, and actually we see it here as well, on sales and marketing, which is 18% of the revenue. So why are they not making money? Well, they have to spend a lot of money on advertising, right? That's true of a lot of innovative companies trying to get brand share. And you can see a big 1 year change, 1 year versus year change in how much they're spending on promotions. So that's just one little tidbit I wanted to point out. And then it gets into other details too. So item 7, it's the basic numbers, but also the analysis and explanation of the numbers. And it might also, as it does in this case, here on page 57, talk about how much money they spend on marketing. So in addition to the website public commentary and easy to find stuff, which you should use, yes, the 10K report from the investor relations website gives you a lot of details that you're not going to find in other places, because this is the insider, legalistic, and shareholder research that they are required to publish. Any public company has these details out there. Okay. And I'm going to show you 2 more things regarding about a client. I'm going to jump into a database now. So back on my research guide, this is called Mergent Online. Mergent Online covers every public company in the world, most basically. Keyword search by ticker symbol or just Peloton as a name, and it's interactive, not minerals. That's a different company. And this is largely, yes, financial data. I'm going to keep this brief because financial analysis is not a super detailed part of your project. But I want you to know that we do have these sources that give you quite a lot of data, but also it gives you history and property information about who owns company subsidiaries. There are reports in here too. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I want to make this video short. We'll see how well I do with that goal. But just for example, company financials, I think this is a good example to show you. I'm going to change it to the income statement. And let's do 10 years worth, refresh. And this runs from right to left. So we're going to see the newest year here first, and then we go older back in time. And just notice, and you can download this to a spreadsheet if you wanted to do some analysis, do some graphing or some charts from Excel after you download it from this database. So we get total revenue, and you can see it is going up, yay, $4 billion in 2021. And then, as we mentioned before, income data, which will show that they're losing money, and that comes down here somewhere. Yeah. Numbers might be a little bit different. This is adjusted data. The 10K is their preliminary analysis, so sometimes there's slight variations in those numbers. But that's one use of this product. Beyond that, as I mentioned, executive profiles, who runs the company, and you can search and see like what other boards they serve on, if that's useful. Probably not for this class though. And reports are here as well, 10K, other 10Ks and so on. So Mergent is a good place to go to for basically descriptive data about the company. But finally, regarding from about a client, part 1, Business Source Complete, articles from journals, newspapers like Wall Street Journal, and trade industries sources. So like exercise magazines that are meant for exercise industry professionals. In one example, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to type in Peloton. I want the latest news. I'm going to limit the search to articles about the company, CEO company entity. That means the articles are going to be centered on Peloton, not just mentioning it in passing, not just a quick blurb about it. And search. And then finally, once we get search results, I'm going to change the relevancy sorting to date newest. So what are the newest things going on about Peloton in the news? I'm going to skip the German article. So a Bloomberg opinion piece about how investors are worried about something. This article from Bloomberg, which is here in full text, talks about how Peloton is now trying to market a lower income market because there's just a limited number of rich people who can buy expensive bikes. So now they're selling a cheaper version of their bikes to try to get more market share among middle class persons. For example, I think you get the idea at this point. Aspects of how Peloton from Fortune magazine is doing in the pandemic. Now that people have adjusted to it, there's more competition. So I think it's a cover story, or at least it's a pretty substantial article in Fortune from March regarding exactly how Peloton is doing in the pandemic. And you can see other aspects of that here from Business News. So I'll leave it at that for this point. So news analysis, best practices, case studies, scandals. You can add another keyword if you wanted to, such as marketing or promotion. This kind of jumps ahead a bit in your assignment than just about a client. But if there are any analysis of Peloton, including that infamous advertisement where the husband bought the bike for the wife, and arguably that was offensive, we'll talk about that as well to some extent. And you can see different aspects here about Peloton and their advertising or marketing or promotional aspects. So that's 3 recommendations for about a client: the 10K report from Investor Relations website, Emergent for financial data and some other descriptive information, and Business Source Complete for articles about trends, news, promotional aspects of Peloton as a company being written about by journalists. All right, part 2. Situation analysis, companies' market share, competition, that's industry analysis, and a bit about consumers, that's marketing. I'm going to suggest 3 sources for this. First one's going to be a very popular database called IBIS. And by the way, a database means a package of research the library pays for. We pay $20,000 a year for IBIS, I think. Free to you all, free to students, thanks in part to the fact that you pay tuition. That helps fund library content. Each IBIS report would cost an individual consumer $1,000. I could show you that if I had time. There's websites where you type in credit card and you can buy a report, just one report. So these are $1,000 reports, and there are about 2,000 of them in this database. So you get 2 for free. For example, for a major company in an industry, you can search for it by name and find the industry report that it is mentioned inside, such as gym and exercise equipment manufacturing. I usually tell students, this is industry research. Type in the name of the industry. It's about the industry. But sometimes the company comes up too. I typed exercise, notice the different options here. But let's go into their core business of selling the bikes and the other kinds of devices they've got, the treadmill. And I'm going to point out fairly quickly, maybe 3 different sections of this report that would really get you a long ways towards doing your situation analysis. I'm going to open the home page of this report. This is just a preview. You got like 9 or 10 sections here. For example, who are the competitors? Well, that's competitive landscape and major companies, both of which have subsections. We can look and see, and we'll see that there's 40% of the industry is major players, and the rest are pretty minor ones, and we can learn about who those are under the next chapter. We'll get to that. Nature of the industry by cost analysis, wage trends, etc. So that's more your competition and how they compete, what it takes to be successful. That's key success factors. Under the next chapter, major companies, we actually get market share. So let me jump to that. And remember, this is not necessarily wired equipment. This is generally gym and exercise equipment. And you can see Brunswick dominates. Amer Sports has some presence too. Where is Peloton? Why doesn't it show up? Well, it does. You just have to scroll down because its market share is tiny, tiny. It's a new player. It only does 2 kind of machines, right? The bikes and the treadmills, apparently. And it does have some analysis there. But usually the big picture here is the industry. You're not focusing on Peloton at this point. This is the big picture. 2 more examples. Industry outlook. Is the industry growing or not, and why? And you can see analysis here. Percentage growth, yes, every year it's going to go up, according to this forecast. Over the next 5 years, global aspects, Here's your industry performance data, total revenue for the whole industry, and its projections, and how many companies there are, and exports and imports, et cetera. It's mature because we've had bikes, for a long time. And you can see an infographic here about where it fits in. And you can argue Peloton might be a little bit different because of the networked part of it too. But it's fundamentally selling machinery, right? Selling exercise machines. So I don't think it's that different from this public maturity analysis you get here. And finally, products and markets. This is also a segue into market research. This is really a marketing chapter inside the industry report here. And you can see supply chain issues here. What kind of machines are most purchased by exercise people? Treadmills, number 1. Ellipticals, step machines, number 2. Bikes is 5th place. There you go. So Peloton historically has been in this small segment, whereas now it has treadmills too, yes. But some of these are bigger than bikes. So in some ways, it's starting off with a more minor category, but that's perhaps growing. And there's analysis of each of those types. And finally, one more thing here, we have some consumer research. So most of the equipment is being used in the home. Some are being purchased for gyms. Some are exported. Some are in other possible uses, like universities buying them for gyms. So that's some consumer segmentation there, but we'll do better than that in a minute. Okay, enough on that. So IBIS, download the entire report as one PDF. You're good to go. You've got everything else. And you might want to also just check back on its homepage and see what else is related to this report that you might want to look at as well. Related reports, and you can decide if you want to pursue anything else here that's related to this. So IBIS, one of the most used databases at UNCG because so many students need to do industry analysis. It's really good. All right, what about markets though? We saw a little bit of that in IBIS. Let's go into Mintel here. I mentioned IBIS reports cost about $1,000 each if you had to buy it with a credit card. Well, these cost about $4,000 each. Go to marketresearch.com, search it for these reports. You'll see that much money. If you don't believe me, I can show you real quick because I had a bookmarked example here. Just a second, please. Yeah, this is a different, not relevant for today. Just Mintel report. You can see Mintel International, Beauty Devices US, a couple years ago. It's old bookmark. Actually, this is $5,000. So this is valuable stuff. Why is it valuable? Because research is expensive. It takes a lot of money to do the research, to publish it, and there's a market for it, so you can charge a lot. So Mintel is a company in Chicago that sells research. They hire a lot of students too, by the way, graduates of business schools to be the researchers if they got some research skills. So this is an example of proprietary, expensive industry research. Most of the people using this product are not students. They are corporations and consultants, and students are also in the mix as clients, but that's not the primary focus. So because good companies and good consultants need high quality research, and here you are. All right, sorry, that was a little sales pitch for using library databases. All right, for example, type in exercise. You may get a suggested hit, and you see a suggested title of Exercise Trends US 2021. I'm gonna open that up and show you a typical Mintel report structure. It's gonna have 5 main chapters: overview, market, consumer, brand, company, and data. Each of them, as you have seen, has subchapters. Before I show you 1 or 2 examples, up top, you've got also download options for the full report or a PDF version. If you're going to do a presentation in this class, I forget if you are or not, you could use this to very easily get a good infographic or data visualization and cite it on screen, of course, but then you've got some good visuals as opposed to just showing bulleted lists, which gets tedious sometimes and doesn't always tell a good story. And if you like the data in it, you can download the entire statistical package as Excel spreadsheet. So that's in there too. Anyway, just for example, okay, what motivates people to use exercise equipment? Well, we can see changes in frequency, why they make decisions about what products to own, their attitudes towards working at home or in gyms, often broken down by segment. So here, segmentation is occasional exercisers, regular exercisers, and everyone put together on average. But you may also see data by income, by age, by race, by gender, etc. Here's your age segmentation data and why you decided to purchase what you did. So learning about what motivates Peloton customers by using the industry as a whole. That's one quick example. One other possibility here is to search this report. And let's see if Peloton is mentioned inside it, even though the focus is on the market as a whole. yeah, so 3 chapters mention Peloton, and why not take a look at what they have to say about it as well. So attitudes, and usually it's highlighted well, and it may not be a major reference to it, but you can see some businesses are built upon brands such as Tonal or Peloton, and you could look for examples of that through Google probably if you wanted to, and so on. So that's an example of searching this report for your company. But again, remember, this is markets. This is not about Peloton specifically. This is about the people who become Peloton customers or watch advertisements from Peloton and then make decisions about their behavior after that. So this is the market analysis, consumer perceptions, psychographic aspects, demographic aspects, how much money they're spending on the market. That's what this covers. And besides exercise trends, one other keyword you might want to try is wellness, because there is some more segmented research here, including research on Hispanic consumers and Black consumers in general. And yes, those are both diverse and large categories, but we do have a multicultural package, it's called. It's something I had to buy as a separate component for Mintel that does cover other types of segmentation of consumers. So between IBIS for industry and Mintel for markets, you have a good collection here of situation analysis. But one final possibility, which I'll keep this fairly short because it's pretty easy to see what this does, is a database called Statista, where I'm going to type in just Peloton and show you the titles we get. These are basically statistical reports. For example, quarterly revenue, this is like we saw early on with total sales, but also what kind of customers they're having through subscribers, what virtual events are coming up. And here's something that's more kind of market industry centered. Actually, I would say this is industry centered, leading sportswear companies by market capitalization. So this is, obviously a stock equities based way to look and see how companies are doing based on stock performance. And that's not necessarily market research, but there's connection there. I should have shown you a better example than this regarding usefulness too. Here we go. App ownership among fitness users, United States, MyFitnessPal #1, big time. Strava #2, Peloton #3, and here are other examples. So here's more kind of market share data, specifically about fitness apps. And you can download this data using the links you can see. You can change the structure if you prefer a different format. You can say, I want to see a graph or just a table, and so on. So there's some good, easy to find statistics about the industry, market, and about the company itself here in the Statista database. All right, and that should give you a lot of good stuff to do for situation analysis. Finally, even though your sections 3 through 6 of your assignment are more creativity centered and applying your concepts and knowledge of promotions and marketing in general, there is some research that supports it as well. I'm going to show you two new things and one old thing to illustrate this to wrap up this video. One, we have a new database we just got last spring called eMarketer Insider Intelligence. It focuses on digital transformation research. And if you just look at the table of contents here, e-commerce, advertising, marketing, technology, AI, Internet of Things, this is obviously about digital concepts and marketing. And to get a sense of trends in spending by companies by different formats, such as email versus mobile ad versus newspapers versus out of home, et cetera, or for other analysis of trends and how we're using digital content to market and do promotions, this is good. You can keyword search Peloton, you'll get a few hits, but really this is about bigger pictures and trends and ideas, and then you use your own critical thinking and creative thinking to think about how some of these issues may help you determine a good promotion campaign strategy for Peloton. So just, for example, social media users here, and you can see reports, some podcasting, some shorter articles regarding, consumer attitudes towards digital advertising in 2021. And you can look at the report. You can do chart versions, again, infographics, because you can tell up and convey information better visually than just with words, just with bullet points, or the whole slide deck as a PDF version. So think about how this might help you come up with a strategy for Peloton. This is really good stuff, and I'm curious to see, by the way, feedback students have regarding this product. We bought it as a 5-year package, After the 5 years are up, we'll see if we renew it or not, if we can afford to do that or want to do that. So think about this as another way to get some good proprietary industry research about digital marketing. Okay, one old thing, back to Mintel, again, regarding just campaign research. We talked about exercise and wellness. One other way to search Mintel, though, is more generally for market analysis about industry, about segmentation. For example, demographics. If you are going to target millennials or Gen Z or maybe baby boomers in a promotion campaign, you need to know, how does it work? How does it work to market to that generation or to those persons? And just for example, I'm going to click Gen Z here and get reports that do discuss Gen Z's. Gen Z beauty consumer, yes, that's not Peloton, although maybe some of the strategies might work for Peloton as well. And more generally, you've got report just on how to market to Gen Z. And you can go like with the other reports on exercise and wellness, download the whole report, the data book, look at the 5 main chapters, etc. This has nothing to do with Peloton or even exercise. This is how to work with this generation as a target group. So this is market research now, not Peloton research. So that's how you need to think about this, and then make applications of what you're learning from this, or ideas it may spark in your heads towards Peloton as your target, as your client in effect too. And finally, in Mintel, regarding using this database for promotion campaign exploration, there's also trend drivers as a category. And for example, technology, digital entertainment, media, how do we consume digital media? How do we consume digital entertainment? These reports cover that, among other things, identity aspects. If you're trying to sell experiences as a promotional strategy, or surroundings like sustainability or localism, then these reports will give you insights on that kind of trend driver. So again, critical thinking, how can I apply what I'm learning about these things, like internet influencers? So if that's part of your promotional campaign, you're going to leverage those folks or hire them or whatever. How can that help me out? This will give you insights into that. All right, final recommendation, ABI Inform. This is like BitSource Complete, except it has more global research. You could use BitSource Complete for this example as well. But I want to show you an example. I'm going to look at my notes here because I have a search prepared that I've tried before. I want to know about trends in promotional campaigning. I'm going to type in, if I can spell it correctly, promotion star campaign. And as some of you know, that star gives us different endings. It can give us promotional campaign, promotions campaign, or just promotion campaign. I'm going to add with the and fitness. So what's going on with promotion campaigning and fitness? And you'll see articles from journals, from advertising and promotion trade journals. Those are publications used by professional marketers and promotion people about this topic, and newspaper articles and press releases too. There's a wide variety of things. Sometimes I actually like to limit my search to like trade journals, for example, to get really specific industry sources from different places you can see. So aspects of how, and I know sometimes it's hard to tell from the titles, how useful this is, but you can see here, I think you can get a sense here of advertising, promotional research going on with fitness mentioned somewhere. So learn from other examples, learn from trends, best practices, success stories, failure stories as well. This gives you a sense of how to do that kind of thing too. So finally, think about advertising and promotion articles. Like, what are the case studies? What else is happening around the world? And there's so many ways of filtering this search by content, by country, by subject, by date. So I only want new research. I can very easily change it to last 10 years or last 1 year and see what else might be coming up. I could also do exercise as a topic. And maybe I want to focus on social media. Last example here, sometimes in the social networks is really what they go by in the literature. So I'm going to do either of these two phrases with an or in between and search. And I might have to turn off these filters we already had. Well, I'll leave it here. Yeah. So we're getting different aspects of exercise and social media or social networks and promotional campaigning through these hits. So that's just a third option besides your eMarketer and Mintel to try to get some good research for the promotional aspects, even though, yes, my emphasis today has been on the market industry analysis and the company analysis. Finally, hopefully I am in your network of people who can support you if you have research questions. Over on the right side of my LibGuide here, my research guide, you can see email link, a chat box. If it's blue, I am logged in right now into this system, as I now am. So if I refresh this page, it'll turn blue and you can chat with me directly. But if it's yellow, it's our main desk. We have good people there too. Or schedule a consultation with me. Click on this link, pick a time where I'm free. So next Monday, yeah, I have a pretty open day. Click on a time, you get yourself added to my calendar automatically. You get my Zoom link and automatic reply. I get an alert that you're coming to see me, or at least I'm going to Zoom with you at 2 o'clock on Monday. So if I can be of service to you, email me, chat with me, schedule a consultation with me. We can meet face-to-face or in Zoom. And I'll be happy to support your work. All right, that's all. Hope this was useful. Good luck this semester, and thank you, and take care.